Have you been struggling to make ends meet on your Social Security benefits? Well, I've got some potentially life-changing news that you need to hear right now. The House just approved a $2,000 stimulus payment specifically for Social Security recipients and seniors. Yes, you heard that right, $2,000 that could be coming your way soon. But what does this really mean for you? Who qualifies? And most importantly, when will you see this money in your account? Stay with me for the next few minutes, because I'm going to break down everything you need to know about this critical development that could put thousands of extra dollars in your pocket. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Money Expert Channel. I'm your host, and today we're diving deep into what might be the most significant financial news for seniors and Social Security recipients in years. Before we get started, if you're new here and want to stay informed about Social Security updates, stimulus news, and retirement strategies, make sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you never miss out on information that could boost your financial situation. Let's start with the breaking news that has seniors across America talking. After months of debate and negotiation, the House of Representatives has finally approved a new economic relief package that includes a $2,000 direct payment to Social Security beneficiaries and qualifying seniors. This comes after increasing pressure from advocacy groups and a growing recognition that inflation has been particularly hard on those living on fixed incomes. Now, you might be thinking, haven't we heard promises about stimulus checks before? And you'd be right to be skeptical. But this time, the legislation has cleared a major hurdle by passing the House with bipartisan support. The bill acknowledges that seniors on fixed incomes have been disproportionately affected by recent economic challenges, from skyrocketing healthcare costs to the highest inflation rates we've seen in decades. But what exactly does this bill include? The centerpiece is a one-time $2,000 payment to individuals who receive Social Security retirement benefits, Social Security disability insurance, SSDI, supplemental security income, SSI, or veterans benefits. For many of you watching, that means a direct deposit that could help cover months of rising grocery bills, utilities, or even necessary home repairs you've been putting off. How did we get here? Well, it's important to understand the context. Over the past 2 years, inflation has eaten away at the purchasing power of Social Security benefits, despite the cost of living adjustments. Many seniors have found themselves making impossible choices between medicine, food, and keeping the lights on. Congressional representatives from both parties have been hearing these stories from constituents, creating the rare political climate where agreement was possible. You might be wondering, what about eligibility? Do I qualify for this payment? The legislation targets Americans who are most vulnerable to economic hardship. If you're currently receiving any form of Social Security benefits, including retirement, disability, or SSI, you're likely eligible. The payments are expected to phase out for individuals with adjusted gross incomes above $150,000 for married couples filing jointly and $75,000 for individuals. I know what many of you are asking now, when will I receive this money? While the House approval is a crucial step, the payment timeline depends on several factors. First, the Senate must also pass the legislation, and then it needs the President's signature to become law. Based on previous stimulus distributions, once the bill becomes law, the Treasury Department and IRS could begin sending payments within 2 to 3 weeks, with direct deposits arriving first, followed by physical checks and debit cards. But here's where you need to pay close attention. This isn't a done deal yet. The bill still faces challenges in the Senate, where the margin for passage is narrower. Some fiscal conservatives have expressed concerns about additional spending and its potential impact on inflation, the very problem these payments aim to address for seniors. This brings us to another important question. Is this $2,000 payment taxable? Based on the structure of previous stimulus payments, it's likely that these payments would not be considered taxable income for federal tax purposes. However, I always recommend consulting with a tax professional about your specific situation once the final legislation is passed. Many viewers have been asking, will this affect my regular Social Security benefits? The short answer is no. This stimulus payment would be completely separate from your normal Social Security benefits and would not impact your eligibility or payment amounts for any federal programs you're currently enrolled in. Now, let's talk about the potential economic impact of this stimulus. Putting $2,000 into the hands of millions of seniors isn't just about individual relief. It's also about stimulating the broader economy. When seniors have more money to spend, local businesses benefit. Previous stimulus payments have shown that recipients typically spend the money quickly on necessities, creating a positive ripple effect throughout communities. Some of you might be concerned about the effect on our national debt. It's a valid concern, and one that lawmakers have debated extensively. Supporters of the bill argue that the economic benefits outweigh the costs, particularly when targeting a vulnerable population that will immediately recirculate the money back into the economy. Critics worry about long-term fiscal implications. As always, the economic reality probably lies somewhere in between these viewpoints. You might also be asking, what can I do to make sure I receive this payment? Based on previous stimulus distributions, most eligible recipients won't need to take any action. If you're already receiving Social Security benefits via direct deposit, that's how you'll receive this payment. If you typically get a paper check for your benefits, you'll likely receive your stimulus the same way. However, if you've moved recently or changed banks, you'll want to make sure your information is updated with the Social Security Administration as soon as possible. You can do this through your My Social Security account online or by contacting your local SSA office. Let's address another common question. What if I don't file taxes because my income is too low? Based on how previous stimulus payments were handled, non-tax filers who receive Social Security benefits should still receive their payments automatically. The IRS and Treasury Department would likely work with the SSA to identify eligible recipients, even if they don't normally file tax returns. Now, I want to take a moment to address some misinformation that's been circulating. You might have seen social media posts claiming that this money is already being sent out, or that you need to call a certain number to claim your payment. Please be careful. Scammers often use news about government payments to try to steal personal information. The truth is that no payments will begin until the legislation is fully passed and signed into law. Any official communications will come directly from the IRS or Social Security Administration, not through phone calls, texts, or emails asking for personal information. Some of you have asked about additional support beyond this one-time payment. The current legislation focuses on immediate relief, but there are ongoing discussions about more comprehensive reforms to Social Security to address long-term financial security for seniors. These include proposals to change the way cost of living adjustments are calculated and efforts to ensure the program's solvency for future generations. I've also received questions about how this payment might affect eligibility for other benefit programs like Medicaid or SNAP food stamps. Based on how previous stimulus payments were structured, this payment would likely not count as income for determining eligibility for federal benefit programs, and it would not count as a resource or asset for 12 months. However, the final legislation will provide specific details on these interactions. Let's talk about what this means in practical terms for your financial planning. If you do receive this $2,000 payment, how should you prioritize using it? While everyone's situation is different, financial experts typically recommend first addressing immediate needs like housing, utilities, food, and medication. If those essentials are covered, consider paying down high-interest debt, building an emergency fund, or addressing deferred home or medical needs. Many seniors have asked, will there be more payments like this in the future? While this current legislation is for a one-time payment, the political recognition of seniors' financial challenges could pave the way for more regular support. Several lawmakers have proposed recurring quarterly payments for seniors throughout periods of high inflation, though these proposals are still in early stages.